Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm here with my colleague, David Robert. Hello, David.
Hey Dave, how you doing?
So I'm doing well, and thanks for taking the time to chat. So, David, you recently wrote a blog. The theme was basically how we're returning to the workplace, very different people than we were pre-pandemic. And I wanted to know what specifically motivated you to write that blog.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for asking that. So, I have to be honest. Actually, there's two blogs in the series, right? The first one, how COVID changed us, really started out as a creative exercise. I like many people have been dealing with a lot of anxiety and stress for the events of the past year, and writing's a nice creative outlet for me. But then as I was writing the blog, I was recalling all these conversations I was having with clients about their own anxiety, and so I kind of thought like, oh, interesting, maybe this blog could resonate with people, and perhaps foster a sense of connectedness, that if they're having anxiety or they're fearful for returning back to work, that they're not alone, that we're kind of all in this together. And that was my big hope for that first blog, when we released it.
Yeah, well, it obviously did resonate. It's got many, many hits. We've received multiple comments and feedback that it really touched a chord. So, in light of all the people you've touched with these blogs, what do you want the substantive takeaways to be for them and next steps?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's actually the reason why I wrote the follow-up blog called I Quit. It's because, after the first blog was written and we talked a bit about, listen, we've changed and we may not have the same motivations or the same needs that we had prior to the pandemic. And leaders should be aware of that, as they're asking people, and in some cases, as we know with JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley, forcing people back into the office, there are real implications of that if you're not prepared to understand what those changed needs are. And so I wrote the I Quit blog to really focus on, I know people who have been in our webinars and have heard me speak before. I talk about workplace culture all the time, so I really wanted to focus on the culture implications of the changed way in which we are now going to engage in work. And as you know, you're the one who pointed out to me, Dave, that there's been a lot of media coverage about this sort of like impending mass exodus from the workplace. For a variety of reasons, beyond the fear of getting COVID, we're reprioritizing, we are reassessing where we spend our time, and many of us may determine that the old normal doesn't work for us anymore. And so to answer your question about what I'd like people to walk away with after reading, especially blog number 2, I Quit, is the understanding that how you behave today and the decisions you make during this transition back to the workplace will have long-term implications on your people's morale, their engagement, and their loyalty to your firm. And I'm not entirely convinced that senior leaders are, I'm generalizing here, are have embraced that. Or understand that they may get the win, and I'll pick on J.P. Morgan and Morgan Stanley, the CEOs who are essentially giving their employees an ultimatum: come back to work or else. They may win that battle. They may actually succeed in forcing their people back to the office. But who are they forcing back? Are they forcing back highly motivated, inspired, loyal employees? Or are they forcing back a very different set of people, right? And only time will tell. But my guess is, they're going to be surprised in terms of the mindset of those people they force back in the office. And so that really, to me, is the big takeaway. And I know it's frustrating. I know that many of the client engagements we worked on, where we're trying to instill and foster cultures of inclusion and trust and respect and care, that oftentimes the need for that kind of culture only comes up when there's a crisis, and this is not the way culture works. And as a culture practitioner, I'm always encouraging my clients to think proactively and have a long-term thought process in terms of what you're trying to accomplish. I can't underscore that the importance of the loyalty piece of culture as well. If these analysts and thought leaders are correct that there will be a mass exodus, or the possibility of mass exodus, then why aren't organizations thinking about ways today that they can further engage and demonstrate care for their employees so that those employees are more likely to emotionally connect and anchor to the organization and won't leave. That's really was the point of the second blog, was maybe maybe it's an opportunity to have a conversation between the employees and the leaders, rather than kind of digging your heels into your respective camp or tribe, and being focused on winning the battle. Maybe it's an opportunity to enter into some kind of a negotiation, right, about how can we collaborate to create a new normal where everyone feels supported and cared for. And so it's less about winning and more about trying to find a collaborative solution to this very important problem.
So thank you so much for sharing those perspectives with us today, David. I really appreciate it. Very insightful. And I look forward to continuing this conversation with you in the future.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it, Dave.